Hi, everybody. Well, looks like Carnival Cruise Line is back in the news, and it's kind of an old story, and it's one they're trying to get out of the news headlines altogether and off their ships, but it just keeps popping up, and it's all for the wrong reasons. So as you probably heard and seen on even on my channel, I mentioned it on Don's Family Vacations, the brawl that happened on the Carnival Paradise, another short cruise heading back to Tampa. It was filmed by a TikToker and posted, and now it's been going viral, of course, where a group of women were fighting, throwing chairs, plates, and you see Carnival security intervene. I actually think they showed up relatively quickly compared to some events that I've seen in the past. But it's that same old, right, of, Carnival getting a bad reputation for having rowdy people and fighting and stupid people on cruise ships. We don't know what sparked the fight, let's be honest, right? Who knows? Somebody could have been beaten on somebody and that's how the fight broke out. And other people just jumped in to defend, or it could just be a bunch of people arguing and just went stupid. Just went stupid, because there's nothing intelligent about what these people did, right? So let's go and talk a little bit. Is the reputation founded? Well, unfortunately, there's a bit of a problem here. Because, they're trying to be known as the fun ships. They're bringing out the bigger ships, the better ships. They got the roller coasters now. They got the areas on the ship all spread out like an Oasis class ship where you have the neighborhoods, and they're bringing on some really good entertainment on board. They're bringing in some really good fine dining on board. They're doing all the right things, but they still have this reputation. And unfortunately, stories like this do not help that reputation one bit. But they got to do something, and they got to do more than just say we're going to ban people. Just banning people doesn't stop the next bad group of people from coming on, because who knows how often they cruise, if ever. This could have been their first cruise ever, and who cares if they'd come back or not. If you're in the middle of a brawl on a cruise ship, are you intending to go back on a cruise ship real soon? Probably not. So is it really that severe to do that? Now, fining people and maybe giving this information over to the FBI and charging them in assault. And in this case, you can charge them assault with intent to harm, because they're throwing chairs and things at each other. It wasn't just fists swinging. They were picking things up, trying to really injure somebody. They weren't just trying to defend them, they were trying to do bodily harm. And if you look at the history right now, in 2023, Carnival Cruise Line had by far the most physical assaults. And if you look at the Federal Bureau of Investigation's reports that they have to, file, in 2023, they had 14 which were considered acts of violence with serious bodily injury. That's 14 in 2023 alone. That could have all been from just 2 brawls, for all that matter, right? But, it's probably spread out more along a few different sailings. Well, how much do the other cruise lines have? Is it even comparable, right? Is it on an even keel? We just don't hear about it as much because it's not Carnival. Unfortunately, if you look at Royal Caribbean, NCL, MSC, Virgin Cruise Line, Costa Cruise Line, all of them, and combine them all together, there was a total of 8. 60% of the total of one cruise line, the Carnival Cruise Line. That's not a good thing. That's not a good reputation. And every time these stories come out, this is the headline, right? It's the Walmart of cruising. No matter what they do on their ships, no matter how beautiful their ships are, no matter how family-friendly their ships are, if this stuff keeps happening, that's the reputation they're going to have, right? It's the discounted cruise line. It's the ship where anything can happen, and it's not necessarily right. It's not necessarily deserving. But when you have that many incidences, more than other cruise lines, you have to do something to stem that tide. For one thing you could do is invest in really well-trained security and have more of them. And have more of them stationed around the ship. Have more of them around the bars. Have more of them in that buffet in the late evening hours. Places where ruckuses can start, right? Places that you have a reputation where you see the brawls break out or the possibility of arguments and fights. Have the security standing by where they can intervene before it gets too far. There's not a lot of use of intervening into a situation when everyone's already swinging and throwing chairs. But if you see people starting to yell and argue across the room from each other, if security was there, they could intervene before it gets out of hand and before anybody gets injured. Of course, that's going to cost more money. But the ships are making money. The ships are making a ton of money right now. The cruise lines, their profitability is through the roof right now. Maybe, just maybe, some of that money should be spent. Oh man, this is a little frustrating to me because it ruins the reputation of an industry I love, right? When you see stuff like this happen, it just takes everything, all the fun out of it. And it makes people concerned about going, especially with your family, especially with young children. Do you want your young children around idiots like this? I don't. I do not want that. And so it would make me think twice about going on a Carnival ship if I have young children or even teenage children. It just does. It's a natural thing, especially if you're not an everyday cruiser, a cruiser who cruises all the time. If you've been on one cruise, two cruises, and you see this happening on the Carnival cruise line, you just might not want to go. So first off, get more security. Place them around the ship more often. Not just for embarkation and disembarkation, right? Have them wandering around the ships, moving around the ship, not just waiting for something to happen. Have people monitoring the cameras and things like that, but have people doing like neighborhood watch, walking around, looking for trouble before it starts. That's the best way to end a bad reputation than to just say, guess what? It's not going to be tolerated and we ban them. Okay, what's going to happen the next time? It's not going to be tolerated and we're going to ban them. Okay, but the incidences keep happening.